This final segment of God's message to the world settles once and for all the subject of the crucifixion of Jesus. And God tells us he was an eyewitness there, remember? God tells us that the person of Jesus Christ, that is the soul, left his body, was raised to God before his body was put on the cross. So the people who were torturing Jesus' body and crucifying it were not dealing with Jesus Christ at all. Jesus was gone already. He was raised like anyone who dies. The soul was raised, returned to God. And the body was tortured and put on the cross, and the heart was beating and the lungs were breathing, but the person was not there. Ironically, God gives us today a good example of a person whose soul has departed, but his body is living with us, and his heart is beating and his lungs are breathing, he's eating and he smiles and everything, but his soul departed. And I'm talking about one of the people who received an artificial heart, Bill Schrader. About a month after his operation, he was having dinner with his wife, and we are told he had a stroke. In my opinion, Bill Schrader left. The person is gone. And now his body is walking with an artificial heart, and his lungs are breathing, but the person is not here. He does not recognize the time or the people around him ever since that moment. And this is exactly what happened regarding the crucifixion of Jesus, as told in God's final message that is proven by mathematical code. So let me summarize for you what this final message from God to the world does. First of all, it exposes the contradictions and the nonsense that have been injected in the Bible. The second thing, it confirms the divine truths that are found in the Bible. The majority of the Bible is divine truth. The third function of this final message from God to the world is to settle the great controversies, like the deification of Jesus, the sonship, the claimed sonship of Jesus to God. The fourth function of this final segment of God's scripture is to confirm all previous miracles, the unusual happenings that may be unbelievable, like the parting of the Red Sea, like the fact that Jesus revived the dead and created birds from clay by God's leave. All these things are hard to believe. So this final segment of God's scripture, being mathematically composed and containing this physical evidence that it is from God, confirms those unusual happenings that we call miracles. Since every letter, every word in this final segment of God's scripture is mathematically composed beyond human ability, when you read a statement saying Moses parted the Red Sea, this statement becomes proven by physical evidence. When you read in this message that Jesus revived the dead, which is something unbelievable normally, when you read that and you know that it is a miracle, miracle by definition is an unusual happening. So when you read the statement, Jesus revived the dead, and you know that every letter, every word is mathematically composed beyond human ability, then this gives you physical evidence that the statement, Jesus revived the dead, is a proven fact. Unusual as it may be, it is God's miracle that Jesus performed. So these are the 4 functions of God's final scripture to the world. Expose the contradictions and nonsense and remove it from the Bible. Confirm the divine truths that are contained in the Bible. Settle the controversies like the virgin birth of Jesus and the crucifixion of his body after his soul had departed. And the 4th function is to confirm all previous miracles, the miracles of Moses and Jesus, and the unusual happenings that we see in the Bible and in the Quran. I am sure you realize that we cannot cover these heavy subjects in such a short time. And because these subjects are so heavy, I am sure I raised more questions than answered. And this is why I hope you will get on the phone and call me with your questions. Don't hesitate to ask. My phone number is area code 602-791-3989. I am going to put the address and the telephone number on the screen for you. So please write or call. My address is 739 East 6th Street, Tucson, Arizona, 85719. And the telephone is area code 602-791-3989. Thank you and God bless you.